And we'll do music. We'll do 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to another episode of Questlog, the weekly show about video games old and new. My name is Tyler Everett. It is April 8th, 2017, and this is episode 27. Joining me, as always, is the one, the only, the Brian Maxwell. How are you doing, man?
Hey, people. What's good? What's the good news?
Is that a thing people say? What's good? I'm sure it is. It's fine. Joining you again for her triumphant return is Kat Maxwell. How's it going, Kat?
Hey, it's good to be back.
Glad to have you back. I know you're like working all day and then coming home and doing this on a Saturday, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good. I'm caffeinated and alcoholed, so I'm good to go.
The two requirements for doing this show.
Perfect.
Yep.
And back from the other side of the country, the West Coast life, Aaron Kring. How's it going, man?
Some might call it the best coast.
The West Coast, best coast?
Because I want to go back. I know I just got back yesterday, but I don't want to be in a place where the air hurts my face anymore. I want to be in a place where I can go to the beach every day.
I want to be where the people are.
That's you're not wrong, Tyler.
All the people are there. It's all the people all the time. How was it, man? How was your trip?
It was great. It was relaxing. The driving up the coast of California is exactly like you expect it to be. Just stopping at all the beaches, all the sunshine, listening to tunes. It's constantly just the most relaxing, laid back, chill thing you can do. And I want it in my life. I want all of it. I want more of it.
All that
Give it
sounds
to me.
very good. It all sounds good. What are you gonna miss most besides the weather? You can't say the weather because we all know the weather sucks.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to miss the most
About
California?
Yeah.
Besides the weather?
Yeah.
Well,
like that's a
the
cop
second,
out.
the thing I will miss the
Is it
second
In-N-Out
most is the
Burger?
weather.
It's not In-N-Out Burger? Okay.
The thing I will miss the third most is the weather. And coming up in fourth is the weather. And behind that, rounding out the top five is the weather.
All right. Just get you some sun. That's all you need. I understand. Well, let's, what do you say we talk about video games, huh? I got music for it. I promise. Here it is. Just get it turned up so people can hear it, you know? All right, so it's been a good week for games. Games are still good. Brian, why don't we just start it out? Whoever is typing is loud as fuck. He doesn't care. Kring, stop fucking typing. Did we lose him? What's going on? Is this real life? Oh man. All right. Anyway, games. We're here to talk about them. Brian, would you like to talk about Persona 5?
Would I?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to
Yes.
leave the room.
Yeah. I'm gonna not spoil it. I don't want the Atlas, secret police knocking down my door. So, yes, Persona 5 is a thing that came out this past week, and I've been playing the shit out of it. I'm a Persona fan as far back as 3 and 4. Is my audio okay? Are you guys hearing me okay?
I'm hearing you just fine. Yeah, 3 and 4.
All right, 3 and 4. Yeah, this one's got a lot of the same common threads that 3 and 4 had, where you're a transfer student in high school in a city in Japan. It's really, really stylish. It's got these stylized menus that my daughter said it looks like a comic book, and
Hmm.
I think she's right. It's got kind of a, I don't know, like a heist kind of vibe to it that I was not at all excited about when I heard it, but it works really well in practice. Yeah, it's neat because like it takes place in modern day in Japan, so everything works like you'd expect it to work in the real world. It's just a regular ass, modern day setting, but then you've also got demons and crazy shadowy shit going on at certain times, so it's a nice mix.
I think the biggest thing I've noticed the difference between, because I have watched some of your gameplay, was that this is a little bit darker is the wrong word, but they really changed up the way the plot works. Like you're kind of like a.
They jump into the adult situations pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like things get heavy. I'm already kind of invested in like my character's story and my party members. Like the game makes you interested, makes you care about the characters and what's happening to them. So.
Well, there was
nice.
No like, hey, you're new. Welcome to this new city. It was like,
no, it was like, oh, you're a piece of shit, boat anchor that just moved in with me, and if you
Don't
fart
cause-
the wrong way, you're going back.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was the biggest difference.
I watched a little bit of your stream, Brian, and that struck me right away. Is the guy Sojiro? Is that his name?
Sojiro,
something?
yeah.
He's a cocksucker. Like he's just like, let me tell you why you're a real piece of shit, and you're living here with me, but I'm not real thrilled about it, and you better not be home late. And like the connection to like you,
probation.
Yeah, like the way that you get stuck with this dude seems like real. It's a real loose thread that connects you there.
Yeah, I'm expecting they're going to explain that further because it seems like a real weird setup where it's just like, your parents are friends of my, I don't know, like my customers in my coffee shop, so I guess you're staying with me.
I guess you get to live in the attic now. This is your home. Yeah.
He's got a backstory too, and they're starting to get into it a little bit. But yeah, like right off the rip, it was like a nightmare. It was like a nightmare scenario for me. It's like you're in a new town, you've got to go to school the next day,
And you're an asshole to everybody.
Well,
Everyone thinks you're an asshole.
You're supposed to go to this like subway station, take a train to another subway station, and then take that that train to school. So I'm just like, oh shit, I don't know where anything is. I don't know which train to get on. I can't read any of this. I figured it out, but that's like an actual terrible, terrible situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that you're playing through this and I get to kind of like peek in on it because it's definitely not something that I ever pick up, and it's not something I have any, like I know the Persona games are like one of the most sought out RPGs on the market, and it's just never done anything for me, but I'm like slowly getting bits and pieces of why people are into it. It's still not something I think I would probably enjoy playing that much, but I can appreciate what it is.
Sorry, I won't let him spoil it for you, Tyler.
That's fine.
I haven't played a good sprawling 100-hour RPG in a long while, so I'm ready.
I started reading up on like some of the common themes that string these games together, and the most interesting thing to me is that like when you go, it seems like when you're going to fight in the dungeons, quote unquote, I guess, the common thread seems to be you're dealing with people's like inner demons, like they're deep
for this one and for number 4. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's almost like an Inception kind of vibe, where it's like it's
pretty cool.
reality, but it's not, and everything's built around people's inner fears and shames and secrets.
There was a little bit of that in 3 too, because depending on who you friended, like the personas would change.
Yes, yep, that's always a theme. Like your social links that you make, like they make a difference in combat as far as the things you can summon and you get different abilities and access to different personas based on your social links. And all the NPCs have interesting side stories too.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's living up to the Persona pedigree so far.
For sure. Yeah, I've got probably a dozen hours into it, and yeah, I'm
Scratching all those itches.
down. I love the look of it. I love the style. It's like the soundtrack's good. It's this like J-pop, kind of soundtrack. This is
Yep.
this is almost like a pilgrimage I take every few years. Like this is all outside of my usual interests. I've lamented that it's very funny to me that I'm the anime apologist in the group because in my other group of friends, it's like, you're the grouchy old shit who hates anime and doesn't want to look at it or hear about it.
Yeah.
I own one anime, and I would probably own more, but now that you're a little bit more open-minded to that, we may own more.
I still don't like it or want to watch it. Like I've never watched an anime that I liked. I've watched
We watched
some.
Gungrave, and you liked it up until a certain point.
Right, Gungrave was like from
Terrible.
dusk till dawn. It was like the first half of the movie. I'm like, okay, this is interesting, and then it just got fucking stupid halfway through it. It's like, well, we're in a bar and there are vampires now. It's like, okay, just
Now, okay, to be fair, you're in a coffee shop now, but in about like 20 minutes before, there was police officers turning into like couch cushion monster looking things with tentacles and buttholes everywhere. Like, come on. you have to. I guess it helps to know what you're expecting, right? Like, if you're playing
Yeah.
Gungrave and you're thinking, oh, this is cool Western, and then all of a sudden robots show up or vampires or whatever.
well, I can appreciate that it's like the enemies are all crazy shit. It's like, oh, here, let's make a fucking cow man and let's put like guitars on his head and let's put a knife stick on his back and let's give him wheels for legs. Fuck it, do it. And
Make it happen.
it's whatever you can think of, and it's
very weird.
I'm not way into that stuff, but it's nice to have a game that's not like, oh no, there are goblins attacking the town. Here are some robots and ninjas, and
That's true. That's true. Well, cool. We'll keep checking in on that.
But do we have to?
Kring and I are the grouchy, very grouchy, no anime people.
None at all. Don't give me any of it. Even the stupid freaking Pokemon cartoon, I hate it.
I listened to you pieces of shit talk about Zelda for a month straight. So fuck
Wait.
off and let me have this.
But you like Zelda.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like I said,
It's fine.
my exposure to it, watching Brian stream it, is good because that's about as close as I want to get to it.
That's fine.
And I like that.
I
like
will say that I will give it a compliment. Fine, I'll give it one compliment, and that is that the text on screen and like the text boxes and all of that stuff reminds me of Amped 3 on the Xbox 360. It's laid out
Yeah, it's
very
very
much
X
like that.
gamesy. Yeah, it does remind me of the X games a lot.
And I played the crap out of Amp 3, and it's one of my favorite Xbox 360 games. So
It's very edgy
there you go, Brian. It can have
and
that.
stylish.
If you guys don't like turn-based RPGs, it's not going to be your thing regardless. But
See, I'm not opposed to a turn-based RPG. I like
it's
that.
kind of, I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah, oh, that's good. It's different.
It's
You guys are-
very much not my thing, but I am glad that you are enjoying it.
Sure.
Well, Brian, I played an RPG too, and it's
Did ya?
called. Yeah, I did. It's a different
Good.
variety though. It's called The Witcher
Why are you
3.
sarcastic right now?
I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick. Go ahead, though.
Okay. So I played a game called The Witcher 3, and in The Witcher 3, you play as a white guy with white hair, and he rides a brown horse. It's great. And it's open world. It's a little like like a Skyrim or something like that, but it's a lot darker than that. There's vampires and witches, and they're just about the most grotesque versions of those that you could imagine. It's not like your typical fantasy stuff where it's like, oh, a goblin over there. It's like, no, there's a thing called a drowner, which is basically a zombie that comes up out of the shallow water to claw your face in. It's not pleasant, guys. It's not a fun time. Most of the people in the game are not good people, and there's a lot of sickness and death it's kind of a depressing world, but it's a beautiful game, and I had a lot of fun with it. And if you're watching the video, you're gonna see me kill some wolves here in a second once I can figure out how to drive my horse. So, I came off of this after Zelda, played Zelda for like a good solid month, and I kind of wanted to keep that open world third person game going. So I picked Witcher back up. And I don't know if you can see what's going on here, Krang, but you can see it doesn't handle quite as smooth as Zelda does. That's one of the things I noticed right away. Yeah. Yep.
Is it as bad as Skyrim in the way that it handles?
No, it's bad. I would say the controls are a little bit better than that, but there are many times where I felt like I don't know, it was very clunky. Like, I fucked that wolf up, though, right there. That one, dunzo. One shot. But, yeah, it's a great game. I'm having fun with it, but it's a little overwhelming. There's a lot to it. It's another one of those where everything has a million side quests. The main story is probably a good, 40 hours at least, and there's probably another 20 hours of side stories and extra stuff that you could do. So I've played it a couple times. I've probably put another 6 hours into it this week, and I don't know if I'll finish it or not. I think it might be too much for me right now.
How far did you go in the end?
I actually started over, so like I was probably
okay.
I was pretty close to the end on my original playthrough from like 2 years ago, but yeah, I started over just because I felt like it had been too long. I didn't really know what was going on in the story. But man, the voice acting's super good. The facial animations are amazing. Like even the stuff in engine where you're just talking to another person, it's really good. It's funny because this game came out 2 years ago, and we just had Mass Effect Andromeda come out with all that controversy over the facial animation and the some of the models looking really goofy and voice acting being bad, and this game just blows it out of the water in those regards.
I would say, based on what I saw of Andromeda, Skyrim blows it out of the water, and that came out 6 years ago.
They did just release an update to tweak some of the issues, like the animation.
They patched it so like the eyes
I don't know if it's made it good, but hopefully less awkward.
I saw a screenshot where the eyes don't look quite so dead and and empty anymore, so that's good. But yeah, Witcher's tough. It's one of those games where like I don't feel good about the stuff that's going on in there really. Like it's just a real rough world. There's monsters everywhere. Nobody trusts you. Like I don't know. You've got these cat eyes. It's a ridiculous world, but I really do like it.
It's another big like about 100-hour kind of game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's what I was saying. While you were gone, I was kind of mentioning that just coming off of Zelda, like I wanted more of this type of gameplay, but I don't know if I want another 100-hour epic story. Like Shovel Knight has been fun to jump into just to bash stuff around and play it for a little bit and put it down. Where this, I feel like I gotta play for 2 or 3 hours and then I don't feel great about it afterwards. Like I don't know, just this lady here that you're seeing on the screen, she wants you to find her pan. She's lost her frying pan, so you got to go into this house and find a dude who borrowed the pan so he could scrape the soot off to make ink to write an urgent letter, and you find him dead in the spoiler alert, he's inside this house dead with his throat slit. So you come back out like, here's your pan, lady. I had to take it out of this room.
I'm gonna pose as Luke for a second.
Yeah.
Was it cast iron?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was definitely cast iron. Yeah.
And do we know what brand it was?
It looked like a Lodge. Yeah, I would say if I had to. No, I'm not sure. So I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff like that, but there's rarely anything that makes you just feel like, oh, cool, that was fun. I'm glad I helped that person. There's always like this feeling like anyone could just stab you in the back at any time, and you might not be helping the right people. They might be doing really bad stuff the second you're done helping them. It's a very dark fantasy. So,
Seems like a hell of a lot of trouble to go through for a pan.
Yeah. I mean, she could have just, knocked the door down herself, I'm sure. She's a spry old lady. There's also a tinge of the kind of thing that Brian and I have talked about where, like, the main character is a fucking horn dog, and there's a couple girl characters that you have the option of banging throughout your adventures. And it just kind of, like, there's moments where it all of a sudden turns into, like, a cheesy romance novel. And
Cringeworthy.
Yeah, just, it's not...
So like God of War, where it's like press circle to sex.
Not really. It's like dialogue. It's more of the not Mass Effect, the BioWare style where, like, you go through a conversation tree. But like there's one moment I remember playing through it, and you're sitting at this dinner table with this mage lady, and she's like trying to do small talk about politics or something, and I think one of your options, your dialogue options, is like, I thought there was going to be sex. And then you see, like, he pretty much says exactly that. Like, why are we here? We know why we're here. And then it just turns into softcore porn for a second. So, it's a little awkward.
Seems like a lot of awkward.
Yeah. But they know their audience. It's, kind of what you would expect at this point. But anyway, yeah, so I might play some more Witcher 3. I might not. It's a very good game that I don't know if I'll ever finish. Basically,
watching this gameplay video, you mentioned about how it's not as smooth as Zelda, and it makes me just like, this is a very well-made game, and watching the way he's moving around and everything seems very clunky in comparison to Breath of the Wild, and just makes me realize how, if that's one thing that Nintendo's really good at, is their games are buttery smooth.
Yeah.
Regardless of what title it is, their first party titles are just perfect when they come out.
And I'm sure there's some adjustment too, like I'm playing on a different console with a different control setup and all that too. But I just felt like when I turned, I'd turn too much to one side, and I couldn't control my horse the way I wanted to, and it just felt clunky and weird, like you said. Even just running around, you'll see it's kind of jerky. Like the camera seems to go too far whenever I want to turn, that sort of thing. But it's good. It's a good game. Everyone should play it. Check it out. I got it on Good Old Games. So, there you go. Let's see. Krang, you have an interesting story about, what's it called? Grand Theft Auto 5.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, so I went to California this past week, in Southern California for a week. And while I was down there, I went to some places that reminded me very much of this game. For instance, the Santa Monica Pier, there is a Pacific Park on the Santa Monica Pier, and I walked into the area where the roller coaster and the Ferris wheel are, and I went, holy shit, this is exactly like I saw on GTA. And so I came home and I was like, no, I want to load this up and check it out and see how much of it equates to the real world. And it's surprisingly very similar to what I remember seeing when I was out there. Like I said, the pier is almost identical. I drive up the road north from the pier, and it's very similar, reminiscent of what I was doing. It was amazing to see how close they got the world. Now, it's not 100% because they had to shrink some areas down, but it all felt very similar. And then I got stuck playing the story because I realized that I had played through the story once on Xbox when it first came out, and I picked this up on PC when it came out for PC, but I played mostly online. And now I'm playing the story, and God, this game is real good. I forgot how good this story is and how good their level of satire is. They really capture the world in a very humorous way. Especially Trevor, always be Trevor. Just there's no reason to play any other character but Trevor.
That's been one of my favorite things about the GTA series is like you just walk around through. There's like the subway area. I was walking through the subway and I'm like reading the signs and looking at the different like businesses and stuff as you're walking through these different areas and all the advertisements, and it's all like replicated so well. It all like you can look at an ad and go, oh, it's an Apple ad, and you look, it's like, oh, it's not Apple, it's whatever the GTA version of that is. But they've spoofed everything so well that you forget that it's all fake. They do such a good job of, like you said, spoofing the world. I always love that.
Yeah, so I'm probably about 2/3 of the way through the story now. I played the crap out of that today and got a lot of story completed today. I think I'm gonna end up finishing the story mode again because I haven't played it, and it's been 3 years now since I first played it. So it's been long enough that I remember a lot of the missions and I remember a lot of the plot points, but there's stuff that I forget, and it's every time Trevor's on screen, I just lose it. He's so hilarious. I don't care. I give zero shits about Michael or Franklin. Give me all the Trevor times.
Yeah. He reminds me a bit of like old Jack Nicholson. Like,
yep.
Like that's the vibe I get from that character. Like the voice actor kind of sounds like him. He kind of almost looks like him. He's like a hillbilly version of Jack Nicholson on meth in California.
and a sociopath.
Well, yeah. Yep. He's definitely not one of the good guys, but he's a good guy
with a fetish for old women.
Yeah.
He first meets Franklin's aunt, and he's like, "You didn't tell me you had a sister." And then Franklin starts yelling at his aunt, and Trevor tells him to shut the fuck up. Oh God, so good.
Yeah, you're making me want to replay that now.
You should. Just do it. Just load it up right now. What are we doing?
Cool. I know Kat doesn't like the GTA games at all, and Brian has passing interest in them, so.
Yeah. The Rockstar humor doesn't always
land for you. Yeah.
I got to be in the right mood for that juvenile kind of thing.
Yeah.
I look at it, especially GTA 5. It felt like it got less juvenile, more South Parky with the way that they were starting to. I know that doesn't really mean much because South Park
gonna need a little more.
Because South Park is really juvenile, but
it's more stick of truth, less
less purely dick and fart jokes.
Right. Oh, good stuff. Kat, can you hear me, Kat?
Yes.
So you played a little more Horizon, I hear?
Yeah, I try to play a little bit every week so I don't lose where I'm at, and I just got a little bit more into the main story today. It's still amazing as usual, but I came across a big machine that has lasers.
Is it a Thunderjaw?
Thunderjaw. And I did not have a recording of that because it was ugly.
I've heard a lot of people say that it's as good or better than Zelda, so that's pretty impressive.
Well, I'm really enjoying the story, and what I like about the story is you can do all the side quests, do the main quest in the area, and move to the new area. And then you can have a bunch of other side quests. I mean, the world, I don't even know if I've opened up half the world yet. I don't know how this game runs as far as hours played. I don't even know how many hours I have in right now. But I am pretty impressed with the gameplay. and it really keeps your interests going. And the fact that you can set different settings up for the game is good, because if you aren't too worried about combat, you can put it on easy, and combat's kind of a breeze even when it's hard, although there's some pretty tough characters. There's different factions throughout the game as well, and meeting the different factions and who likes who and who doesn't like who is kind of neat, and how you're treated in different cities when you go to different places. That's what I'm kind of experiencing for the first time. I'm in a city where they could care less about my kind. So I'm treated quite a bit different.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm jealous. I want to play it. It's another case of damn the exclusives, because I would totally pick that up if it was available on PC, but it is a PS4 exclusive.
Tyler,
Yep.
not going to brag, but I can ride my horse real good in this game.
Yeah, there you go. See? Well, that's cool. I'm glad that you're sticking with it. I'm curious to see what you think once you beat it. If it was, if it makes it into like your top 10 or anything
I'm
like that.
sure it will,
Yeah.
because I can see where the story's going. Like, I already have kind of what I think is happening, what's happening within the game,
Mhm.
And I'm curious if what I think is happening comes true, because it really makes for a good plot. Like, the storyline is going to be really good if it's what I'm thinking. If not, I hope it's no weird, like, oh, well, we're going to end the game and that's it. I don't see him doing that with this, so.
I'm told the story is pretty satisfying, and it's like they see it through pretty well to the end.
I hope
I
it
hope
gets
so.
a sequel. I hope it does well enough to warrant,
Sure.
more.
Mhm.
I know it's sold
Oh.
really well so far.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cool. Well, let's see. Let me pull up my Hollow Knight recording here from Brian. Hollow Knight is another one that I'm jealous of and I want to get into. Oh, that's not the right one. Let's see if I can do this. I know what I'm doing. Here we go.
Do you though?
Brian, yeah. What's up with Hollow Knight, man?
It's a Metroidvania game. Stop me if you've heard this one before. It's a
Oh.
Metroidvania game. It's got this really cool, like, cartoony looking art style, and everyone's bugs. You're in the bug world.
Are you a bug?
Yeah, you play this little beetle looking man with mandibles on his head, and instead of everything's kind of dim and gray, and like the cartoony art style keeps it from being too terribly miserable. Like you talked about The Witcher, where it's just like, oh, this is fun, but I feel sad when I play it. Like
Yeah.
it's not that. But
Yeah, bad stuff's happening, but at least it's cute at the same time.
Exactly.
That's cool.
It's
I really
it's
dig
really well
this.
done. It's hard for me to say too much about it because it really is it's a Metroidvania. Like the combat and the jumping feel really good, and you're going to get power-ups that slowly grant you access to new areas. Bosses here and there to fight, upgrades to purchase. Like it's a really good one of these.
Yeah. You get this on Steam?
Yeah, the soundtrack is great. There's a lot of like piano music and kind of quiet, subdued music to it.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm going to keep playing it now, though. Like you said with Shovel Knight, it makes a nice alternative to. I've been playing like Persona and Final Fantasy.
Right.
This is much easier to pick up for 15 minutes and put back down.
Yeah, this
Brian,
is
how do
one of
you do
those.
it?
What's that?
How do you do it, Brian?
do what?
Which
How does
part?
he always end up finding the platformers that look amazing and have this cutesy art style? Like, do you just, is there like
He
a
uses
thing
eyeballs in the
I can-
internet.
is there like a thing that I can, go into Steam and click, this is a game that Brian will find for Questlog? Is that like a genre? Because it's every week. Brian's got some awesome looking new game that I now want to play.
Yeah, I follow a couple of like gaming publications on Twitter, and I listen to some podcasts. So, in its own way, that's advertising for me all the time.
Yeah. Yep. And this, man, it's so funny because I've seen people comment on this game, and one person said, "Oh, it just looks like a Flash game," and I don't know how you could get that from watching this. Like, the art is really good. It has this really cool hand-drawn look to it. Like the characters, like the enemies and the main character are simple designs, but they're not like.
I think that's why, because I am getting a very hand-drawn sort of feel to it, but in a Flash kind of way. But when I look at the background and the foreground, like I get that from the character and the enemies that you interact with. But when I look at the background and the foreground, I do not get that at all. So I don't know how you could confuse that.
Me either. I really want to play this now. It was on my radar. I heard good things about it, but
it's real good.
Yeah, this looks extremely good. Whatever that move is that you're doing, where you like shoot some giant fireball blast out of the middle of you, that was real cool.
You've got a meter up in the upper left there, and you can spend that to either shoot that big fireball blast or to heal yourself.
Okay, all right.
You build that meter up by hitting the bad guys.
Sweet.
The only thing that makes me think I might not see it through right now is that I just, in the last few months, I finished Salt and Sanctuary and Axiom Verge.
So
I've played a lot of these lately.
A little burnout
I never
on
really
it.
thought of myself as someone who's especially a big fan of Metroidvania games, but
I really wish this would come out on the Switch, because I would play the shit out of it on my Switch.
yeah, I was wondering, like, I don't think of you as as a fan of Metroidvania games either, but it's pretty close to the gameplay of Shovel Knight. Just instead of being one big world, it's Shovel Knight's in stages, but it's very simple gameplay.
Yep. I've always liked stuff like this. It's not something that I've sought out recently, and having a handheld console where I'm looking for that kind of gameplay where I can just kind of pick it up and do a little bit and then pause it and put it away. I'm not like super invested in a story as much as I am the actual physical gameplay of it.
You need Salt Sanctuary.
That is one where the art style does kind of not. It works against me in that one.
Too much.
I just don't like it. I don't know. It doesn't look good to me. And that's not always a deal breaker, but in that case it kind of is. I don't know why.
I don't like the look of the characters, but I like the look of literally everything else.
The character's the thing that you're staring at the whole time, though.
Yeah.
That one can be a deal breaker. But I don't know. I might give it a shot. Both of these are in your Steam, so I might be able to just, that whole chestnut. Well, cool.
I'm trying to think if the look of a game has ever made me not try it or not play it. I'm sure it's happened at some point, but I'm trying to think if I've ever looked at a game and been like, these graphics, nope, I'm out.
Yeah, I would disagree with you, Tyler. I just pulled up a video of Salt and Sanctuary, and I think it looks gorgeous, and I want to try it now.
Yeah.
I think the character faces look goofy. Everything else looks amazing.
I mean, I know it's an opinion and all, but yours is wrong. So
okay, all right. That is something. Every single one of the games from that developer has had the same kind of look to it, and it's been a turnoff every single time. Those look like Flash games to me. They look like just kind of garbagey Flash games, but it's fine. I trust that the gameplay is solid, so I'll give it a shot. But let's take it over to a little thing called Shovel Knight. I played it. I managed to
garbagey Flash games.
I got a capture card, so I'm finally able to grab my Switch gameplay. And Brian joined me, and I showed him some of the expansion stuff for Shovel Knight. And it's really good. It's I finished the base game of Shovel Knight, which is now called Shovel of Hope, and I finished the third installment, which is Spectre of Torment, and now I'm playing through the middle one, which is Plague of Shadows. And
Why are you playing them out of order?
because there's not really an order to them. Like one
You're
is
just talking release order, but it's not like a chronological story order.
correct.
Okay.
So,
So, the
like-
release order does not necessarily mean story order.
Right. So the idea is like, imagine if you played through Mega Man and they released a thing that said, okay, you can play now as, I don't know, Flame Man, right? Like one of the robot bosses that you fought against. They developed like a whole campaign where you played as them instead. That's what they've done with Shovel Knight.
Gotcha.
So Spectre of Torment, you play as Spectre Knight, and he is a Grim Reaper looking dude, and he's got a whole different set of abilities from Shovel Knight. Plague of Shadows is the same idea. You play as Plague Knight. They have really original names. And again, different abilities, but kind of the same setting. So yeah, it's really good. Both times you're still fighting the same bosses, but they've been remixed and have different abilities to match. So yeah, it's just a solid ass platformer, and like I was saying earlier, just really good for that kind of pick up and put down gameplay that I'm looking for right now. So yeah.
I played some of this one too. I'm into it. It's hard though.
It is hard. There is a New Game Plus mode, which is even harder, that I've been trying, and this is where I came to this moment where I think like maybe it's time for me to revisit Dark Souls. Maybe this is the right.
Losing is fun.
Yeah, losing can be kind of fun. Getting your ass kicked every once and again is actually really fun. It was a big turnoff in Dark Souls for me, but I tried it a few years ago, and I don't know. I think I wasn't expecting that. Like, I didn't go in thinking, "Oh, people love this game," because I'd always heard it was hard, but I just thought, well, that's relative.
Masochist.
Yeah, hard to you is different than me. It can't be that hard. It's a video game. Well, then I went and got my ass kicked by the first like mini boss 14 times in a row, and I just went, nope, this ain't for me. But I did.
Isn't that really the entire point of the Dark Souls games, though, is to get your ass kicked?
Yeah,
Like, that's really all they do is kick your ass.
It's unfair, and you die in really cheap ways, but the fun in that is going and get your ass kicked and then learning from that and going back and making that mini boss your biatch. And that's where the fun is. See,
The mastery is really rewarding.
yeah,
But it's so difficult.
and that's what's gotten me through Zelda. That's what's gotten me through Shovel Knight. So I'm thinking the time is right. I think I'm gonna try
You
Dark
died
Souls
because
again.
you suck. I saw it.
Yeah. Yep. You're right. This is the New Game Plus, by the way. This is the extra hard mode where Brian and I found out. I wasn't paying attention to this at first, but in the base game you have a health meter and a magic meter. They call it darkness and will, and they're separate. In this mode, they combine the two, and it just slowly drains as you go. So you have to keep moving and have to keep killing things in order to keep your health up, or you just die. So I didn't realize that was happening. I was just talking to Brian, kind of bullshit, and he goes, "You've got a thing that's just kind of draining up there." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's probably my darkness meter." And I wasn't really paying attention. And I just died all of a sudden, and that was why. So this mode is much harder, much harder.
So you just need to get gooder.
Yeah, I need to get gooder. You got it, Crank.
Gotcha.
All
right.
It's not as hard as something like Forza, where you got to drive around and collect your different cars. But yeah.
Hey, some of those races are quite difficult, sir.
Yeah, I bet. But anyway, yeah, I love the game. It's fantastic. Shovel Knight, go get it. Get it.
Okay, that
however
time you
can
fell
get
on
it.
spikes, though. That's because you suck. It has nothing to do with your darkness or will meter. You fell on spikes because you suck.
Yeah, I was trying to be sweet, and Spectre Knight can do this thing where he grinds on his scythe. He surfs on it, And I was trying to be real cool and do this motion where like I jumped off the one thing and then landed on my scythe, and I just totally went straight into the spikes and died. Yeah, that's what happens. Hubris. It's my downfall. Yep.
Well, just get gooder at it.
I gotta get gooder. You're right, Kreen. It's good advice. It's good advice for life. Everyone, just get gooder at what you're doing, and it'll be fine.
Mo better.
Get more better. Well, the last game that I have on here is Hearthstone. I remembered that I bought a phone earlier in the year that has much better storage on it, much higher capacity, and so I could fit Hearthstone on there again. And so I installed it and I tried it out. Brian, did you do that too?
I did. I done installed it.
Did you guys play each other?
No, not
No.
yet. You want to do that right now? We can do it right now, live on the stream.
If I was a betting man, I would bet that Tyler could play that game for a year and a half. Brian could install it fresh, and Brian would kick the shit out of Tyler.
We've had our
Pretty
we've
rusty.
Had I think if I had to like break it down, it's probably 80-20 in Brian's favor the times we've played. I think he's beaten me 80% of the time. I've gotten him a couple times.
I enjoy deck building.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is that like I used to play Magic, and I like having cards in front of me to sort and arrange and think about when I'm building a deck. I don't like having them on a screen where I'm clicking through pages and clicking through images. That's a lot. I don't know. It's a small thing, but it's way easier for me to have physical things in front of me.
No, I completely agree. You could have all your cards and just kind of quickly flip through them and see what you're looking at. Whereas you have the way that they're set up and organized on that screen is going to be the exact same all the time, and you're going to have to just, I know this one's going to be at the back, but I can't go pick it up from the back. I have to scroll to that screen, then grab that card, and now I can move forward, as opposed to, I know it's in the back, let me check these last 5 cards here real quick and pluck it out. Yeah.
Even just for like thinking about how the deck should work, I like being able to pull out cards and set them aside and, think, does this go with that one? That's a lot harder to do when I've got several pages of stuff to click through. I wish I could kind of set them aside in a holding area while I'm building the deck or something. I guess I can add them to the deck, but take them back out.
There's something that
seems like work.
There's something they've added called deck recipes now, and this is good for somebody like me who I don't like putting that time into doing that stuff. Like crafting a deck is tedious to me. And so what I would do is I'd go to a website and find out, okay, what's a popular one right now? And, what are people building with Paladin? And I'd go look up different Paladin decks and try to find cards that I had that fit into those decks. Well, now they have this thing called deck recipes where you can see, it'll show you like 3 different recipes, and it'll show you how many cards out of the 30 you have. So, like, for example, one of the brand new ones that just came out was a rogue deck, and I had 20 of the 30 cards required. So I open up that recipe, it automatically fills in the cards that I have, and the ones I'm missing are grayed out. And you can go and select those gray cards, and it will give you recommendations on cards you do have that you can use to replace those. So it makes that whole process way easier, and it just kind of simplifies it and dumbs it down enough for a noob like me to be able to still craft a deck that makes some sense. And it also helps me see like, oh, okay, I'm missing that card, and that is kind of the linchpin that holds this whole deck together. So,
some things you can't,
maybe
I replace.
And you can craft cards in the game, so you can you can disenchant your extras, you can disenchant other cards to get dust, and you can use that to craft them. But it's like stupid expensive to craft any of the good cards. The legendaries and stuff are all like 1,600 dust, and you're getting like 15 dust from 5. Not much. It's designed for people who buy a shit ton of Hearthstone cards, which is not something that I do. So Heroes is my whale game. That's the game where I have spent a lot of money. And
well, the big difference is that in Hearthstone, the more money you spend, the better you can play the game, the more options you have at playing the game.
Right.
In Overwatch and Heroes, it's cosmetic.
Right. Correct. And in
There's
Hearthstone,
there's something to be said slightly in Heroes about being able, the more heroes you have, the better, the more likely you are to be able to counter another team's picks. But at the same point, if you just have, say, 5 heroes and you're god level at all 5, it really doesn't matter as much.
I know some people don't like.
Just good at the game.
Some people don't like the way they've got that set up, but I never felt like it was hard to get heroes. Like, I always felt like it was pretty easy to get the next hero, and like if there's one hero that I have to have, like, it'll just take maybe a day or two.
I had spent all of my
less
gold.
than a week.
I spent all my gold on Probius last week. I was down to like 100 gold. I had like nothing left, and I'm back up to I think 8K now. So in a week of playing,
yeah.
So I mean, if you do your daily quests, you get those every 3 days. You log into the game and just knock out your quests, and do the brawls every week. You'll have enough money to buy all the heroes eventually.
Yeah.
There's also really good sales. They do those mega bundles where there's like 10 or 15 heroes in them sometimes, and you get those at like a really super big discount. I mean, for a free-to-play game, I know that it's still one of the more expensive ones if you want to buy the shit, but I don't know. And especially with this Heroes 2.0 update that's coming out, it's going to get even easier to get them because you can open them out of the loot boxes now. So, yeah. Since we're talking about heroes, I suppose I should... Did you have anything else to say about Hearthstone, Brian, before we move on?
I don't know if I'll get back into it or not. I just logged in and I opened the free packs I had waiting for me, and then I logged out.
Their new expansion went live yesterday, I think. The Ungoro Crater stuff. So there's all new cards. They also started their new season, or year, I think they call it. Every year they have a different rotation, and you can basically only use the cards from the previous 2 years, I want to say.
It's the same thing Magic does. Like, they cycle out the old stuff.
Right. So that this is the first time that's kind of happened. This has been the first new year since they've implemented that. So yeah, new cards, new gameplay mechanics and stuff. I won't go into all that stuff because I don't know enough about it. But yeah, I don't know. I might poke around at Hearthstone a little bit more. It's a fun game to play on my phone when I'm bored. So we'll see. But yeah, we kind of already talked about Heroes a little bit, but I want to pull up the gameplay of it because we've been playing together again, which feels really good after the long break we had on Zelda.
Yeah, we played a few today. Did we win all those, Tyler?
No, I don't think
so.
We
went 2 out of 3. I don't know.
Like
they all
that.
felt like struggles.
Yeah,
remember right.
Yeah, it wasn't smooth sailing the whole time, if I recall.
Yeah, par for the course, though.
What's that?
I was.
It sounds like it's par for the course. You struggled, and you can't remember whether or not you won or lost.
There's maybe there's maybe something to say about that. There's maybe like some bigger,
Trying to remember, we had all the crowd control. We were locking them down. I had Zul.
That first game was real good. Yeah, you had Zul. I had Kael'thas.
You had Kael'thas. Yeah.
We had an Arthas on our team and a Malfurion.
Yeah.
And there's one of the Kerrigan. We had Kerrigan too. So literally every person on our team had a gnarly root or stun in their base kit, and we just dominated the other team.
As soon as one person caught someone in a stun, then we would just line them all up.
That's right. So there's times where we play unranked draft together, and I realize once we get into the match, I'm like, oh shit, we don't really have much CC at all. And I just kind of kick myself. Sometimes it works out still for us, sometimes it doesn't, but that seems to be more often than not what becomes our undoing. Kring, are you trying to read something on the screen?
I was counting the number of heroes you have at level 10.
Oh, that's not all of them.
That's not all of them?
No. I have like 17 or 18 at 10.
Well, whose screen am I watching here?
It's
'Cause
mine.
That was like 25.
Oh, let's see. Do you want to count them right now? I got it paused for you.
Yeah.
Brian has more. Brian has, I think, more. I know you have more 11s than I do.
Okay, 21. 21 at 10.
Is that counting the three? See, this was a while ago too. I got Kael'thas up to 11 now too. But yeah, man, Heroes is real good right now. I just we took a good long break from it. At least I did, and it was good to get away. And it's better to get back. It's one of those. This is how it goes with us. We just kind of like hit real hard for a while, and then take a pump the brakes a little bit, take a step back, and then it's always there waiting for me. So anyway, yeah, still very excited. April 25th is when Heroes 2.0 launches, and that could not come soon enough. Yeah, yeah, I'm still very, very excited for that. So anyway, that's gonna wrap up what we've been playing, I think. And let's get into... Oh, I lost it. Damn it. Hold, please.
Not so fast. Not so fast, Tyler.
All right,
Not
go
so
ahead.
fast.
This is a transition. Go ahead.
Speaking of getting gooder, I feel like I need to get gooder at something because I was on a flight to California, and this is new to me because last time I took a flight, like, it was still all up to you to bring your own entertainment stuff. Like, you needed to have something on your iPod, or you needed to have a portable video game system or something in order to be able to do anything. And now every single seat has a screen in the back of it. And
Well, what airline did you fly?
Delta.
Really?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. I flew Delta recently too, like a year ago, and I got some apparently old shitbird plane that didn't have jack shit on it. So I'm a little jealous.
This could be these seats were brand new. So either this was a brand new plane, or they had just upgraded this plane. So maybe this is something they've been doing in the last year. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, I was like, oh my God, all these things I can watch. There were all sorts of movies to watch, and some of them were pretty new. Like Tiffany watched La La Land, and I was like, dang, they have that available to watch?
Y'all got La La Land? Damn.
La La Land? Dang, that just came out. And then
how was the champagne on the flight?
There wasn't any, Tyler. I was still in coach. Okay,
Oh,
this isn't
right.
this isn't like
Got La La Land in your seat. I thought maybe you sprung for first class.
No, because I'm still broke. Anyway, so I'm looking through, and there were also like all sorts of TV shows that you could watch, and then there was even like live TV. Like I could turn on ESPN, and I did turn on CBS and watch some of the Final Four games that were going on in basketball, and watching them live on the airplane. It was crazy.
That was crazy.
But then I
Who
was
won the
starting
game?
like, I don't care, because I didn't finish it. But I went to, there was a section called games, and I was like, oh, let me give this a whirl. Let me see what's in here. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to poke around here. I was like, oh, they got chess. Let me just play a quick game of chess real quick. I'll play it on easy and I'll crush it, right? Because I always thought I was, pretty decent at chess. Every time I play somebody in real life, I usually end up winning. So it's, it's like, oh, let me just crush the computer on easy real quick and be done with it. I played that chess game for an hour before I finally beat it on easy. So either I'm really shitty at it or Delta cheats at chess. And I feel like Delta cheats at chess. So if you ever fly Delta, don't play the chess, because apparently you're playing against Watson. It was not easy. It was ridiculous.
Speaking of chess, did any of you play Battle Chess for DOS back in the day?
No, but I'm going to feel that you did.
Oh my God, I did. I played the shit out of Battle Chess. It was it's technically a Blizzard game. It was back when they were still Silicon and Synapse, back before they became Blizzard, and I think it was a partnership with them and Interplay. And
Do you have cards that you played or something?
no, it was just regular ass chess, but you would move your pieces and they would like they'd actually be like the
Animate.
queen looked like a queen and the pawns were little knights and your rook was like a, you know, building and stuff. So it was and like when you wouldn't just like take a piece and have it move the board, they'd actually fight. Like the pawns would use their spears and jab at each other and they'd make weird little sounds. The queen used magic to like disintegrate people. It was great. I wish I had a gameplay clip of it, but I don't. Battle chess. Get it now.
Sounds like Wizard's chess.
It's real good. Yeah, is that a Harry Potter thing?
It is a Harry Potter thing.
Well, Harry Potter ripped off Battle Chess because Battle Chess came first.
Did it though?
Wizard's chess sounds like Battle Chess, actually. This is me putting my glasses on. All right. News. Huh? Here it comes. All right. Speaking of Blizzard, they, you know what Blizzard doesn't need? A shit pot of extra money. But this week, Blizzard got a shit pot of extra money because they won a lawsuit against, I can't remember the name of the company. Do you have it, Brian? It doesn't matter. They make cheat. Bossland, yes. They make cheat software for lots of games, but namely World of Warcraft and Overwatch are the two popular ones. And yeah, I think to the tune of like $8.5 million. Is that right, Brian?
Yup.
This company is going to have to pay to Blizzard for damages. And, you know, on the one hand, I don't think Blizzard needs $8.5 million. But the interesting thing about that case is they were able to prove that this company cost them that much in damages. It sets kind of an interesting precedent for other intrepid young entrepreneurs who decide they want to develop cheat software for online video games. It might not be a good idea anymore.
So how does me cheating at a game cost Blizzard money? I don't understand this.
If they're online games, that can drive players away for sure.
And not
There
only
are bots
that,
and cheats.
yeah, that's one aspect of it. Like they can prove, you know, so many people, because they do exit surveys. Whenever, if you kill your subscription to WoW, or, well, I think it's pretty much just WoW that does this, but they'll ask you, you know, like, what was it that made you leave the game? And, you know, they have data that can show, hey, this many players left because of cheating, because they felt that it was, you know, unfair. It costs them a ton of money to fight that software. They have their own system.
Okay,
called,
yeah, that's true.
They have their own system called Warden that is kind of like an anti-cheat thing that runs and kind of scans your computer to try to see if you're running that shit. They constantly have to update that. You know, when they do their massive bans and stuff, that takes a bunch of time. Customer service dealing with it, like, it's, with a game of that scale, it's definitely not cheap to try to stay ahead.
Well, I
of
didn't know
cheaters.
that they had monitoring stuff going on. That alone, like, you just have to show, oh, this is how much money I spent
Right,
trying to monitor this specific program, so you at least owe me that much money.
right. And I'm sure part of that is built into, you know, lost sales or subscriptions from people leaving too. But it's good, you know, like it's this. We're not talking about game genies here. We're not talking about people, you know, unlocking unlimited lives for their single player game. You're, you know, gaining an advantage over people in competitive games that, you know, isn't otherwise attainable. And it makes a bad experience for everyone. So I'm glad. Fuck Bossland.
That's kind of what ultimately led us to quit Rust.
Yeah, perfect example. We were all in on that game, and one night a group of hackers showed up, and these guys could headshot you from anywhere on the map, They could walk through walls, and we had basically taken over a server, a group of like 6 or 7 people that played this game on a regular basis. And in one night, a group of cheaters basically stole all of our shit, destroyed all our buildings, killed us until we had nothing left. And
It wasn't even that much of it. It wasn't even that. It was that it killed the server. It caused the server admin. He wiped it.
Yep.
As a result of all of that, because we still had a lot of our stuff. They just killed us a bunch that night, from what I remember. But then that admin wiped that whole server, and then nobody was there anymore after that. It killed that specific server. And then we tried on a couple other servers, and we just realized that
We had similar things happen.
and it just then got to be too much work to try to keep starting over on
That's right.
brand new servers. And so we just slowly stopped playing.
Yep. Yeah, it's a tough thing, but I hope this helps curb some of it. Because if these companies decide that they want to lawyer up and fight the companies making, software that ruins their games, hopefully they'll start winning. They'll be able to show like, hey, this is what happened in the Blizzard case.
Yeah, it does. It
There's
sets a case
precedent.
precedent now, and you'll be able to point to that and be like, hey, here's what they did there. So
Yep. Cool. Brian, you speaking of breaking the rules,
Hmm.
you may have been in some hot water if you weren't careful with your Persona streams.
Yeah, this is pretty bizarre.
It's
A,
2017, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
One would think so. At least in America it is. But yeah, Atlas issued a statement with some very specific limitations on how Persona 5 may and may not be streamed. They don't want you streaming past July 7th in-game. They don't want you showing any spoilers. They don't want videos longer than 90 minutes. Let's see. They pretty much spelled it out here. They make reference to our masters in Japan dictating
Yeah.
this. So this sounds like it's the Atlas, parent company in Japan.
Corporate, yeah.
And I think this is Atlas USA being like, well, we don't like it, but it's the way it is.
The thing
is
that
it though? Because I'm pretty sure that fair use doctrine means that I can do whatever the hell I want, and Atlas can eat shit. And
you'd think
I mean,
that,
but
except
then
for
they
this.
can litigate me until I'm broke.
So here's the line that they say. It's bolded under streaming content. It says, if you decide to stream past 7/7, and then parentheses, I highly recommend not doing this. You have been warned, all caps. You do so at the risk of being issued a content ID claim or worse, a channel strike / account suspension. Twitch then later in the day basically said, hey guys, just so you know, this is what's going on, and you totally may get your video taken down if you do this. So
even Twitch is going to be complicit in it,
What?
even though under the fair use doctrine and you're protected constitutionally to be able to do whatever you want when you're streaming it.
Yeah, it's still their platform though. That's the thing. And it's like,
Right, but wow.
so
What
yeah,
is a channel strike? Is that like shutting down your channel
on YouTube, if
permanently?
you so like we've gotten copyright claims on our channel that have been basically like, hey, you can't monetize this now, right? A channel strike is when they like, I believe that's more serious. Like you're actually you're putting up copyrighted material on purpose. Like if I took a brand new movie, and just uploaded it to YouTube, I'd probably get a channel strike for that because I'm basically just allowing the piracy of that content at that point. You get 3 of those and they shut your channel down. So you just don't have it anymore. So for a very popular streamer or YouTuber to have that happen to them would be very bad.
Yeah.
So looks like they aren't fucking around. And it's
Yeah, they're saying that's because they don't want to spoil the game for people, which is nonsense. Because
bullshit. Yeah.
right, like I don't want Zelda spoiled for me, and how I achieve that is by not watching people stream it.
Yep.
Right.
It's a very
pretty-
simple
If you're-
process.
And the
If
thing
you-
is, like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Crane.
if you we've been doing this for years. If I don't want to know the score of the hockey game because I have it on my TiVo, I don't talk to people about the hockey game, and I actively avoid people talking about the hockey game. And then I come home and I watch it. Same thing with any sort of video game. If you don't want to hear anything about it, you stay away from things that are discussing it.
The thing I don't understand about it too is the place you're least likely to get a spoiler from it is Twitch. Like, are you going to stumble into somebody's channel that says, "Hi, I'm streaming Persona 5," and go, "Oh, god damn it, I didn't want any Persona 5 spoilers." Like, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is you going onto Reddit and somebody throwing something up there without a spoiler tag, or you going onto, a message board or wherever and seeing the content there, or Facebook or whatever. That's where I could see them being a little bit more strict about it. But the people who are doing their stuff on YouTube and Twitch, I mean, it's always very explicit what they're streaming and what they're doing. So
I'm just gonna go ahead and get like a video, like a little thumbnail of a kitty cat, and make it some title about a little kitty cat. Kitten drinks water for the first time, falls in bowl, something like that, right? Something that people are going to click on. And it's just going to be Persona 5 spoilers because, fuck it. Why not? That's how you would stumble upon Persona 5 spoilers.
And there's
If
absolutely
somebody did
nothing
something like
preventing
that.
somebody
Nobody's
from
gonna do
doing
that.
That's the thing. That's what kills me is, like, there's no punishment for those guys. They can't do any kind of punishment for those guys. So what this really leads me to believe is that they think that there's some revenue to lose to streamers.
Right.
That there's going to be people who just tune into a stream instead of picking up the game, and that's just fucking asinine. Like,
That hasn't been. It's been proven that's the opposite. Streaming helps game sales. It doesn't hurt them.
yep.
Exposure to a product that you're questionable on is only going to increase the likelihood that you're going to purchase it.
Well,
It's
that's
not
just the
going
thing.
to
The kind of person that
Steer you away.
could be swayed into not buying the product and just watching it wasn't going to buy it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
And in hand, the type of person. This is a massive game, like you said, Brian. This is a 100-hour game, so I'm gonna have to dedicate. If I'm gonna be like, nope, I'm gonna just watch somebody play it instead of buying it, and I'm gonna save myself $60. Ha ha! Fight the man. Well, I'm gonna have to find somebody who's gonna stream every single thing and then watch their entire stream from beginning to end without break, not in the wrong order. I'm gonna have to make that is far more work than just paying $60 to play the damn game.
I feel like it's just this is coming down from people who are out of touch with, with that part of the industry or that part of the internet gaming culture.
And maybe part of this is just that Japanese games haven't been as in the forefront for a lot of this. I think most of the games that are streamed on Twitch and that are popular are Western games. And, companies like Blizzard and Riot and, whoever else is in the, Rocket League, whoever makes that, they're cool with it. They all understand. They're on board. They've been promoters of this kind of stuff. They're big. They're involved in their communities. And these Japanese developers haven't had to do that. Nintendo has some pretty archaic views on streaming and that sort of thing too. I think it's a culture thing.
I think it's that Japanese developers in general don't know what the fuck to do with video games in the 21st century. Like, full stop. They don't have any idea how the industry as a whole works anymore. Nintendo is very closed-minded. They do their own thing. They've always done their own thing. They don't listen to anybody else. They don't accept any outside influence. They're just going to continue to do what they do because that's what they do. And it feels like that's that whole section of the industry in Japan just doesn't seem to want to move forward and kind of go along with the rest of the world. They seem intent on just being themselves and continuing their own thing. They'll do it until they die.
I'll tell you the other shitty part about this is people were posting spoilers in the comments. which
Yeah.
I read, which that's just great. It's like, yeah, that'll show Atlas. Let's ruin it for other fans of the game. Like, super.
But they open themselves up to that sort of backlash, that sort of
Oh,
mentality.
I know. I understand the flawed mindset that leads us to that, where they're going to be like, well, Atlas did this. It's like, well, you fucking chose to do that, though. Like,
Yeah, that's a real shitty thing.
just a
Like,
dick thing to
oh,
do.
hey, Atlas is worried about spoilers. Well, fuck my fellow gamers, and here's some spoilers. Like, you're not showing them. You're just shitting on people who are on your team. Like, people are so goddamn dumb. Like, sorry, internet. You're all wonderful snowflakes.
No, they're
You're not
terrible.
terrible.
They killed the Xbox One, Tyler. They made it
Seriously.
terrible. They made it bad.
It's
Fuck
true.
the internet.
Oh, well, speaking of Twitch, you're going to be able to start buying games on there now, huh?
Wait, what?
Yeah, you can. They announced this a while back that they were going to be doing this kind of this partnership thing where a streamer you could basically buy a game that's being streamed from Twitch, and the streamer gets a cut of the revenue from it. So this is.
So you're telling me that the exact opposite of what Alice believes is already happening?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this back when they first announced this. Like, Luke, the whole reason Luke bought a Switch was because he sat and watched somebody stream it all day. One of his favorite streamers got a hold of an early copy and was streaming it, and he was like, this looks amazing, and decided to go get it. So, yeah, it works. It works on people. I don't know.
So you'll be able to buy every game except Persona 5? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know. I don't know how that works. I assume that this has something to do with the fact that Amazon owns Twitch now. So I'm guessing it will probably be more of like a partnership with Amazon than necessarily the publishers. So maybe maybe they don't need Atlas on board with this. Maybe it's just hey, Amazon carries it, and so Amazon's sharing the revenue. I don't know that much about it, I guess.
Oh, so it's an order from Amazon.
I think so.
I assume so.
Yeah, I think you're basically buying it through Amazon.
Gotcha. So would it, like, it seems like it's going to work like you're going to click to buy and it'll just open up a link, redirect you to Amazon, and then you'll order it from Amazon from whatever platform that you want?
Or it'll have a
don't-
Twitch, skin on it, but it'll ultimately be from Amazon.
I think well, Twitch has their own launcher and everything now, so I would imagine if it can, it would go through that.
Okay.
Maybe it's only I'd have to check. Yeah, I'll have to look more into that later, I guess, but I believe that that's how it works.
Because that could be real good, being that if you have Prime, you get 20% off pre-orders and new releases. So if you get a game like with Luke, watching him stream on a Switch, Luke would get 20% off that copy of Breath of the Wild for having Prime.
Here you go. It looks like it is just select select titles so far. So it's like For Honor, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Walking Dead, Minecraft, Smite, Paladins. There's a bunch on here, but yeah, that is cool. I'm excited for that. Give the people more money. Give the streamers money.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel
I've got-
about that.
I had a question. Sorry to backtrack to
No, you're
Atlas again. Is that going to be like a timed thing? Is there like a statute of limitations on how long
They've
that's
said.
going to last, or is that
They
in
haven't said.
perpetuity? Because I mean, how long is it before it's not a spoiler anymore? 3 months, 6 months, a year?
It's
How
been
long?
out in Japan for 6 months or so.
Exactly. So I could go and watch some Japanese guy have played the entire game from start to finish. I could find that. I'm sure of it. So
Yep.
okay.
I mean, it would be in Japanese. You'd have to speak Japanese, but yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Oh, let's see. You had another thing in here, Brian, about the Switch warping. Don't tell me the Switch is warping. Switch is totally warping.
Yeah.
Seems like if you leave your Switch in the dock primarily, yup, it can start to warp. And I'm looking at mine. You guys see that? Looks a little warped, doesn't it? Like just slightly.
Just a little bit.
On the left side, it's kind of like a little further. Yep.
Hang on.
Yup.
Kring's got to go.
Yeah, he's gonna go check his, I think. So, yeah, I'm not thrilled about that.
And you take yours out of the dock pretty regularly. You don't leave it in there 100% of the time.
Right. During the day, it's usually with me. I usually bring it with me to work and stuff just so I have it. That is, it's not as, mine isn't as bad as the one in this picture here, but it's definitely starting to bend a little bit, it looks like. So, all right, what's the verdict, Kring?
Tell me, what do you think? I think no.
It looks fine. Yours looks fine.
Ha! Eat shit, idiot. Get a better Switch.
It
Well,
definitely
now
looks,
that I have this here.
it looks like it's a varied. Yeah, there you go, Kring. Just take your time. Yeah, Nintendo still hasn't commented on it. They've been slow to do that when hardware issues crop up, it seems like. But yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. I'm going to keep an eye on mine. I'm definitely going to leave it out of the dock more than in it if I can help it.
So that leads me to, is that going to be warping to the point where you'll no longer be able to put it in the dock? Like it won't rest in there?
I don't know. It looks like it's something people are just starting to notice. It doesn't seem to affect the functionality so far, people are saying, but
It
who knows?
doesn't make you feel good either.
That's right. I just want Nintendo to like go, oh, hey, if that's happening to you, give us a call because we will get it replaced for you. You know, like to just get out in front of it and set that up. That would make me feel a lot better. But the fact that they're not willing to address these hardware concerns right away, like I get wanting to like be cautious of that. They don't want to like issue a recall or something if it's unnecessary. But I don't know. That one's troubling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this week, guys. Got anything else you want to go over?
I think that'll do it.
All right.
I'm now paranoid about my Switch, you asshole.
Keep your eyes on it. Don't
it's
get
good.
a busted
I just
Switch.
set it on the desk flat. It's good. Unless this desk is warped at the same rate that the Switch is warped. Then I'm fucked.
Oh, well, thank you for everyone who tuned in at twitch.tv/questlogcast. You can find our show posted every Sunday over at questlogcast.com. Big thank you to Visager for our intro and outro music. You can find more of his stuff at visager.bandcamp.com. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, pretty much anywhere. The show's up on SoundCloud too. Email us. Send us email. We'd love to get email. It's so great when you guys talk with us. We appreciate it. You can do that at mail@questlogcast.com. That's going to do it for me. Thanks again for everybody. We will catch you next week. See ya.
Good night.
Bye, Kring.